welcome back to my channel, Black MP. So I had a comment on one of my prior videos asking about job searching, interviews, and job contracts. So I wanted to do a video for that because I asked you guys what you want to see from me and you requested, so here we are. So I'll get into job searching first. All right, so I have a little paper in my iPad to keep me on track because rabbit holes. So for job searching, and this can go for anybody in the medical field, or well, I don't know about other fields, but I know for sure for medical field, for job searching, interviews, and for contracts and things like that. So with that, for a job, when you're job searching, or when I'm job searching, the platforms that I would use is Indeed. Indeed is where I've found the majority of the jobs I've had throughout my life, actually. And I like the convenience of Indeed. If a company is outsourcing on Indeed, they're usually a quick apply. So you can go and have your resume and everything all set up. You see a job that you're interested in, and bam, you click it, send your resume over, and you'll hear back from them in a couple of days, or maybe even that day. That's what I did. There's also Glassdoor.com. Also, Indeed has an app, so you can download an app and literally get off social media, find a job, and go on Indeed.com. And on your phone, like while you're laying in the bed, and it'll show you on there, like, jobs that you viewed already, and then it'll also show you new jobs within that same search criteria that have shown up. So you can go on there and request, or you can also request them to be emailed to you. I just love Indeed because it's just all like a one-stop shop. But I won't say that that's everybody's preference, so I will just, mention other places. So you can also have them email you from a particular search. Say you just searched psych nurse practitioner jobs, or mental health nurse practitioner jobs, or family nurse practitioner jobs, and you put that in the search and the results come up. You can actually have those search results come to your phone every day so that you get notifications when new things are posted, so you're keeping up. And actually it's giving you kind of a reminder, like, hey, still need a job, this one's out there. And then while you're interviewing and things like that, you want to keep applying. Just because you get an interview does not mean you have the job. People will interview you, and you might not be, like, your personality might not be a good fit for their company. I always say, once you get the interview, you basically have the job if it's for you. And what I mean by that is, because if I'm going to interview, it means I'm interested in who you are. But your character and your characteristics have to blend with the company that I have, right? So if you come in and my staff is all bubbly and you're kind of like flat and monotone, I don't think you would be a good fit here. So I wouldn't hire you, even though on black and white, on your paper, you look like the perfect candidate. So that's what I mean when I say that. There's also Glassdoor.com. You can search on there as you could with, like, Indeed. You just type in the search bar what you're looking for, where you're looking for it, and search. I don't use it as much, but I do look on there from time to time when I'm looking for a job. But I do know that they list job positions, and a lot of times they'll list the salaries from those companies as well. And then you can also search on Indeed, find a job, and then go to Glassdoor.com, and they'll show you, like, the salary ranges if it's not listed on Indeed. Because sometimes people don't list the amount because it might turn somebody off from applying, or people might only apply because they see the amount that the job is offering. So that can weed people out, so to speak. But on Glassdoor.com, if I've worked there and I'm a member of Glassdoor.com, I'll put my salary range, what it was when I was working there. And maybe some people leave a comment saying it was a nice place to work, they were very formidable, they helped me out, things like that. Or they'll list, like, the manager was mean, she didn't let me do these things, but she had favoritism, they're cliquey, blah, blah, blah. But always, always, always take reviews with a grain of salt. I've noted that people have different experiences. So if you met me, I might be the nicest person in the world to you, but you could get an opinion from someone else and they'll be like, oh, she wasn't nice, I didn't like her attitude, or something like that. You just never know what people might say about someone. So don't take it to like face value, I'll say, when you read those reviews. If you're interested in a place, I will say try for yourself. But if there are multiple reviews saying the same thing, just take heed of that. Also, you can check hospital websites. You could also check clinical websites. Of course, you go down to their career section, they'll have jobs listed same way with the search. And then there's the clinical sites and things like that. And then while you're precepting, which is the way I got my first urgent care job, so to speak. I only did a couple of shifts there though, so I don't count it. You know, I mean, I got paid, so I don't know. But yeah, so I worked there only a couple of shifts, and I quickly realized it wasn't for me. As a new grad nurse practitioner, I wanted more of an environment where I could learn and have other people around me, because if somebody came in with something that I suspected, but it could be also this, and I wanted to go to them with questions, I felt like there was nothing there for me at that urgent care for me to do that with. But I think I like when people are there with me, present, and that's my job now. I have a staff with me, I have other physicians, I have other clinicians, practitioners there, and they're more experienced, of course, than I am. So when I'm having a question, I feel safe and comfortable that I'll be able to go to someone and say, hey, I think it's this. Would you mind taking a look? Or what do you think from this presentation, and giving them the rundown. So rabbit hole, but we're back. All right, so while precepting, that could be a way for you to interview and say, hey, I would like to work here. I graduate this date. If you'd be open to it, I'll be open to it, and see if you can get hired that way. A lot of my classmates did, as did I. So you found a job, you applied, now you have an interview. What do you do in your interview? I have a whole thing that I wanted to go through, but I won't go through like every single bullet point, because y'all, I'm very thorough, okay? But if you would like, I don't mind emailing you. So I'll leave my email, which is theblacknp22@gmail.com. So I'll leave my email in the description box. And if you would like me to interview you, the paper that I just showed you with everything on there, feel free. I will email it to you, and you can look through it, and it probably can help you, because it helped me. So when prepping for your interview, I like to, well, I have my voicemail. You want to have your voicemail professional. Don't be on there like, hello, hey, how are you? And it's a joke. Like, they probably gonna hang up. They're like, this person childish. But yeah, so you want to have your voicemail professional. If you want to say your name and tell somebody to leave a message, you can. Mine is the generic little lady that comes on there and say, this, whatever she says, this person can't be reached right now. Leave a voicemail at the tone, beep, and they leave a voicemail or not. And so, yeah, make sure it's just professional. You don't want to have a playful or music and crazy voicemail. Look over it once you get the job interview. Look at that website for that company and see if their mission statement or their company goals align with something that aligns with your personal values. Because if it doesn't, you don't want to interview there anyway. Waste your time and theirs. And you also want to just know more about the company. So when they come in, and maybe they'll ask you, so what interested you to work here? And you're like, oh, I heard it's a nice place, but you know nothing about the company. They're going to be like, okay. So if you could just go on the website, Google real quick, read their mission statement, see what they're about, and see if it aligns with what you like and what you want to do, and go from there. You also want to just be prepped and ready for the onboarding process and the common questions that you might be asked in the interview. And so sometimes in the job description, they'll say they want you to have your DEA number already, or be registered with Medicare and Medicaid, or whatever they might require. You want to know those things ahead of time. And so in the interview, if you don't have those, you want to mention, hey, I'm in the process of getting my DEA number. And then that's also a time where you can ask, do you guys reimburse for that? Because if they do, that's a chunk of money that you can have in your pocket back from them. because it's like, I feel like it's like $900, $800 and some change. That's a lot of money to be paying out of your pocket. And so if they'll cover that cost for you, it's a win for everybody. So then I want to move into the common questions that you'll be asked during an interview. Some places might ask you, like, what led you to become a nurse practitioner? Like, what is your reason? What's your why? And you can explain what your why is. Sometimes they like to see how you respond to maybe a negative environment or an environment where you were under pressure at work. And they'll ask you, tell me about a time when like a patient got angry or you felt like you didn't know the answer to something. Basically, you're trying to sell yourself to make it seem like, hey, I'm a good fit here. You should hire me. That's what you want. And that's what they want too. That's why they have you there. A lot of companies now are asking and inquiring about your cultural competence. If you haven't, most classes, of course, offer cultural competency and explain like things of different cultures and their practices and things like that as it relates to medicine. And so if you're not as well versed in that, Google cultural competency in healthcare, and there are plenty of articles. Look at reputable sites, of course, like the CDC will give you like a breakdown of cultural competency in an overview. And if there's like a particular culture that you don't know a lot about and that's prevalent in your area where you'll be working, you want to learn more about them, Google again. Go to reputable websites though. .orgs and .govs are very reputable sites. What you don't want to do is go to those like little blog sites that may be making up information and you're thinking you're learning about cultural competency, and then you meet a patient, they don't know what you're talking about. And even though those cultural competency places and sites and things like that might tell you about these cultures, all of it doesn't fit every person. Some people practice different things from their culture and then they pick up another way from somebody else or another ethnic group. And so some things may be applicable, but not all things. So don't ever assume something about someone. Ask a question. It's safe and it's fine to ask questions. It's better to know than to not. And then questions you should ask during your interview. There's a time when they'll be like, well, do you have any questions for us? And y'all, I always got questions. I'll be like, I sure do. And because I come to my interview with like a little like tablet thing like this with little clip notes, and I have a paper on top sometimes because when they're mentioning things throughout the interview that I want to remember or maybe ask about later because they're talking, I don't want to interrupt, I jot it down real quick. I come in there with my pen and my pad. Just like I'm at work, I'm writing stuff down because I love to learn. And then inside is just what it looked like. And this thing costs like $5 or $6 I got it from Burlington, but they have them at Marshall's, TJ Maxx. They have smaller ones that fit inside your pocket in your lab coat. Just be prepared. And so when I went to my interview, I had mine with me, and I write, when I'm writing I write fast. And I write small. So sometimes I can't read my writing, and in the interview is not when I want to be in there like, what did I say right here? So I actually typed up my questions, and then when they were talking and I wrote things down, of course I had to read those because it was in person, but I typed up questions that I might have for them because I had my questions already listed. And so when I went in, I had them typed up, and I was like, well, yes, I do, of course. And so I took out my paper and asked some questions, and they were excited to answer my questions. Actually, they like when you engage too, because they see that you're interested in their company, especially if you look on the website and say, hey, I saw on your company website that you said this, and that, and I was wondering what did it mean, or whatever your question is. They like that you're interested, and they're intrigued to answer your questions. All right, so one of the I'll go two of the questions that you can ask is how are new graduate providers supported? That was my main question every single time I had an interview. I had a few phone interviews, and I had a couple in-person interviews. And from those interviews, there were companies that I didn't want to work for. It wasn't that they turned me down. I did the turning down because I was like, I don't think this would be a good fit for me. I won't waste your time or mine. You know, I didn't tell them that, but I was like, thank you for, you know, interviewing me and giving me the opportunity. But I feel like I would like to move on with other endeavors. Just straight to the point, real easy. You don't owe them like an explanation as to why, unless they ask, and you can tell them, well, this is why I felt like I wouldn't be a good fit there. But I always keep it as an I and not a your company this or that, because who knows, in the future it might change, they may become better and you might want to work there. So it's just my thing. The medical world is very small. You do not want to burn bridges before you even start getting to the other side. So just remember that everybody knows everybody, and especially if you're in a small town and you want to work in that local town, which most people do. You want to work close to home, so be mindful. I would say ask, like, what are you looking for in a provider, just to see what they're expecting of you. If they're expecting you to come in and take a 60 patient caseload right out the gate and you're a new grad, run for the hills. That's not what you want to do. Even if you're supported, that's a lot. It's a whole lot, and you don't want to do that freshly started. You're gonna burn out before you even get in the game. So just be mindful of their expectations for a provider, for what they have you coming in and doing. So yeah, and that's all I have for like interview tips and things like that. Lastly, you wanted to talk about job contracts and your negotiations and renewals. What do you want to look for in your contract? Because we know we're gonna have things come up. You need your continuing education credits, right? Yeah, because you have to renew your certification and your license and things like that. So you want to see if they could cover some of the costs that it might cost for you to get those. You want to also see if they pay for any memberships, AANP, if I wanted to be a member, if they pay for you to go to any conferences. You can request these things in your contract and negotiate for them to include them in your contract. In my contract, I have all of those things, all the things, and my company is providing it for me. That's a blessing. In your contract, there's negotiation. Every time you see a job posted, there's a salary range most of the time. That range does not say you start here at the bottom, right? If you feel like what the starting pay is just way too low for you, especially coming off of being a nurse, and you've already established yourself in your lifestyle and things like that, and say you were making $60 or $50, I'll say, and now the job that you're applying for, they're offering $45 to $55. Try to negotiate that $55. And if you fall back to your $50, at least you're equating, you know, right where you were, and you can work into a new negotiation. You can ask them, okay, how about this? If I start at 50, you know, and then we can renegotiate after 6 months or a year, depending on my performance. Depending on my performance, could we renegotiate after a 6-month mark or a 1-year mark? Most companies will say yes, they'll renegotiate with you, because especially if you're good there and they want to keep you, they will renegotiate and meet you at that new number or even higher. Do not count yourself out. You can get the monies, okay? Get to the bag. And then you also want to know what kind of patient load they expect from you, if you're a new grad or if you're not. And because what you don't want is to get in a place that expects you to be a machine and you're just seeing patients like a robot, and then you have to still chart on these patients. And patient care takes time. You do not want to like go in, look at a patient, be like, you have this, and go. Explain to them what's going on. That's why patients and families and things like that, nursing is always voted at the top of the list when it comes to professions, because we spend time with our patients, we explain things to them, and they feel like they're heard and their needs are met. And so that's what you want to do too. You want to make sure that you're doing those things as a nurse practitioner. That sets us apart, I feel like, in our profession, in our career, as people, as individuals. Okay, so I think I covered everything. If there are other questions that you might have, or things that you feel like I didn't cover that you want to ask me, that I maybe touched on and you want a little more elaboration, let me know. Feel free to email me, theblacknp22@gmail.com. It's always a pleasure. I'm glad that somebody actually requested a video from me, so thank you. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Ooh, y'all. So I almost forgot. I start work next month in May, but my job is having like this little conference type of thing that they only have once a year, and so they want all the providers there. And as a new provider, I'll get to meet all the providers at once. So they were like, if you could come, please come. We know you don't start until next month, but if you can squeeze us in, please do. And I'm like, of course I can. I'll be there because I want to know who I'm working with too, and I just want to be at a function where it's not like all stressed all the time in the beginning, and I can just meet people and see how they are and they see how I am, and we can vibe. And so I'm excited about that. And so with that, when I'm starting next month, y'all, I haven't bought scrubs since I was pregnant. My friend Brickell, again, she brought me some scrubs as a gift for completing school and things like that, but I haven't bought myself any since I was pregnant. I was still wearing my maternity scrubs, and they weren't the big maternity scrubs, and I wasn't that big when I was a maternity person either, but whatever. But they were like the drawstring, so they still fit, and I was like, I'm just taking care of patients, I don't need new scrubs. And so I did a whole haul, y'all. I bought me, how many pair? I think about 3 new sets of figs, maybe 2. Don't quote me. But I'm gonna do a little video for those too. And I bought a new lab coat, a fig lab coat, and I bought me some New Balance because the New Balance 327 I think is the number. They had some that I really liked, but they were sold out. So I got another pair and they came in today. So I'm gonna do a little show and tell of all those things, all the things. And I also have a backup lab coat because things happen, right, at work. And so I have my own embroidery machine over there, so I'm gonna put my name on it, and I'll show you guys my things in the next video. This will be a short video, just a try on haul kind of thing. But yeah, I'm excited either way. Okay, and I'll walk you guys through my first day. It's probably gonna be boring though, because I think I'm just going in and doing like a lot of computer stuff my first day, but I'm excited either way. So I'll let you guys know how that goes, and I'll keep you posted on my journey as a new nurse practitioner, family nurse practitioner. Thanks for tuning in. This is kind of long, but skip to the part where you like, okay? Or just watch it all because this is information that you need. Okay, thank you. Bye.